online church. Like, I'm talking about church completely in the palm of your hand. Like, you can just wake up Sunday morning, grab your phone, and go to church. Is that a thing? And if it is that really considered church? Well, let's talk about it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video on this channel. My name's Chase. This is my friend Jacob. I'll introduce in just a second. But first of all, if this is your first time here, make sure you start by hitting the subscribe button. I post 1 or 2 new videos on this channel every single week. All right, so Jacob and I, we are church planters together here in the Akron, Ohio area. He's been planting for, what, 2 years?
Yeah,
2 years?
2.5.
And then our church plant is gonna start in about a little over a year. And so we actually have a podcast together where we go deeper on this particular topic. So if what we're talking about interests you guys, then check out the link in the description to listen in more detail and hear Jacob maybe rant a little more. If you're a church planter or if you just really, if you're in ministry at all, or even if you just go to church, I think you'll like what we're talking about on this podcast. As you can tell, my videos are heavily edited.
Yeah, that's right. It's all good.
All right, so what are we talking about today?
Well, I guess we should probably talk about how this all originated.
Yeah.
So our friend Deering sent us a tweet a couple weeks ago or whatever it was, from a church that was launching a new online church.
Yeah.
So the tagline for the thing was, hey, people have been asking where our new location is. Where are you going to plant next? And
I like how he said people have been asking when you're coming to Boston and Texas.
Yes, well, they think they're the center of the world. So.
Exactly.
But then their whole announcement was, actually, we're everywhere. You can go to church on your phone.
Yeah,
and
I think
so
they called it what, Church Home
Church
Global.
Home, yeah, Church Home Global.
Church Home Global. They actually they put out a video announcing this new church, they called it, and so I'm just going to show part of the video right now. I'll link to the full video in the description so you can see I wasn't just cutting it and making it look crazy, but it is kind of crazy. So check out this video.
Hey church, how are you? I am so excited to share with you probably the biggest reveal I have ever had the privilege of doing in our church. It is our brand new location. We have a new location, and that location is everywhere. That's right, it's global. We now have Church Home Global. You can go to your favorite app store. You can download it today. One of my favorite parts is before the live worship experience, before the live service begins, you can meet new people in the lobby. I know that sounds crazy, but there's an actual lobby where you can connect, meet people. We're passionate about connecting people with God and each other, and this is going to be maybe the most effective platform we have ever used in doing so, where people can actually build real tactile relationship all over the world.
All right, Jacob, what do you think about that?
I think it should be good first to say that they're not the first people to do this. So this is actually, I think, a concept that's been growing. So I don't want to just look at, although I think this video is a good kind of summary of kind of the concept in some ways, but there isn't really almost anything I like about it in so many ways. Mostly, I think, because it's antithetical to what the church really is. Yeah. And that the church being a people that embody the presence of God by the Spirit of God, that center on Christ, just in all that it's meant to be within the New Testament, it just cannot happen within a phone app. And I think even to build this as church or an online church or go to church, or one of their taglines is a new way to church. It's against everything that I think we see biblically.
Right. You mean it's not biblical to have real tactile relationships? Is that what you're saying?
The funny thing is, yeah, it is biblical to have real tactile relationships, but you can't have real tactile relationships on a phone.
Exactly.
The technology itself and the medium itself limits and hinders who we are, right? It limits our ability to interact in the way God made us as humanity. And I think that's one of the lures of technology sometimes, is it presents things that can seem really flashy and good. And it's not all bad, but actually, if we're not careful, can take away essences of our very humanity. And I think that's where you see things like this, where it's real tactile relationships, but they're not real tactile relationships. Like, as soon as he used that phrase, I thought, I don't think you understand what that word actually means.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
I think I disagree with it for a completely different reason than Jacob. And that's because, obviously, if you guys have been watching this channel for a while, or even if you just check out the channel at all, you know that my channel is focused on some sort of digital ministry. Like, we vlog our family's life to present what a Christian life looks like behind the scene. I post videos like this. And I think when we see something like online church, then everything that people like me are doing gets grouped into that category, which is something completely different. Or even just like having videos on a church website or video resources, like all that gets lumped into online church.
Well, yeah, the problem is when you see those things, like what you're doing, resources, the stuff that's out there, when it shifts from being supplemental to primary.
Absolutely.
And that's the danger. And I think there's a lot of ministry in places that do a good job of saying, hey, we're providing supplemental content. We're providing things to help encourage you, topics, issues, even like what you're doing. But there's a difference between that and, no, this is now your primary place of spirituality, connection. This is church. Like that's a huge difference. There's a huge difference between here's some resources to help and here's actually your church.
Right. So you said something on our podcast. Again, if you guys want to go more into detail on this specific topic, check out our podcast. There's a link in the description. But you said something about the evangelism side of the church. Can you elaborate a little bit what you were?
Yeah. So I think there's this sense that this is the way we need to do church and evangelism to reach people in our world. And so because of the seeming pervasiveness of technology, it becomes this avenue that says like, oh, well, we've got to reach everyone, we've got to get everywhere, we've got to do everything. And you have these churches that I think have good hearts in a sense of wanting to reach people. That's not a bad motivation. But I think it gets dangerous when then one church, one place is now global. We're now going to be everywhere. There's only one church that's meant to be global, and that's with Jesus at the head, not one local body. And I think we get in danger. And so what happens then is I think evangelism distorts the essence of what a healthy church is really meant to be. A healthy church is evangelistic, but where it distorts itself, I think it gets into areas and territories like this, where you're doing things that are actually hindering other aspects of people's spiritual lives and growth and living under the lordship of Christ. And that's the stuff that I think is scary. And I think one of the things that we have to be careful about that is Jesus already gave us the greatest resource for evangelism, which is his followers, his people. And when we train people to say, oh, the best way is actually through my phone app, it's through this online church, you're actually, I think, hindering the growth in evangelism of the actual people of God, which is the greatest resource to get to the remotest places, to get to the farthest places. Because even this phone app is great, and one of their things is, to reach the most remote places on earth or whatever. And I'm like, but that's literally like 1/3 of the Western world. There's still a large percentage of our world that doesn't have internet access, doesn't have a phone, can't go to church on their phone. So this isn't a way that's reaching the most remote places. The people of God are the people that will reach the most remote places. So
would you say that this also makes Christians lazy?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because there's no cost involved.
Right.
If going to church means, like, I can wake up in the morning, pop on my phone, I can interact with people online, but they don't really have to see me. It even creates more barriers to real relationship. And I think in that sense, gives us an ability to present ourselves better than we are. It hinders our actual ability of human connection, and then it allows us to just live a spiritual life that's like all in our own little cocoon, and that is lazy.
It is, absolutely. All right, so as you can see, Jacob's pretty heated about this.
That's for sure. So, although I was thinking, it's easy for me. I can kind of get on these rants a little bit about it, and it's kind of one of my things. But I also know there's a lot of positives in, with your passion for digital ministry and what you've kind of doing, even with this channel and stuff. Where have you seen some of those more supplemental, those more positive things where it's been helpful?
And I think that's the big thing to hit on, that it's supplemental. It's supplemental to the local church. And I've seen people, whether it's in comment sections, whether it's I've heard people's testimonies in person, where they were impacted by someone, whether it was on YouTube, whether it was by watching a video resource that a church put out that wasn't their own church, or even a sermon clip. I think a lot of us like to listen to sermons from other pastors, and those can be life-changing. And the Lord is, technology is there, and so using it for good, I think is something that we should be doing. However, it all goes back to that being a supplement for the local church. Whenever we see, whether it's a pastor or a church in this case, or even if it's someone on YouTube getting carried away and thinking that they are the church, that's where it gets dangerous.
Yeah.
I wanted to end this video just by something I saw on Facebook, but from Justin Coho, also known as That Christian Vlogger on YouTube. If you guys haven't, make sure you check out his channel. But he posted this the other day. He said, how can he be the comforter if you insist on staying comfortable? And I think what he's getting at there is the fact that as Christians, like, we're not called just to see how we can make ourselves as comfortable as possible. I think a lot of people like to try and do that in church. That's what this app seems to be trying to do. Just, how can we make Christianity as easy as we can? Which that's not what the Lord has called us to. He's called us to make disciples. That's the purpose of this channel. There are several Christian YouTube channels out there like that, so don't group all of us into this online church category. But again, if you guys are interested more in hearing what we're talking about and hearing us go deeper on this topic, Jacob, myself, and 2 other church planners up here in Northeast Ohio, we have a podcast called Chin Up Church Planner. Link to that in the description. But got anything else to say?
No, I'm good.
All right. Thanks for watching this video. Again, hit the subscribe button if you haven't. And as always, see you on another video. Mm-hmm.